coming on, but it wasn't.
Thank you. You and God, right? Let's start by saying happy holidays and welcome to Midnight Classic Cinema at the Cinema Village with your host, Barry Z from The Barry Z Show. I should say the world-famous Barry Z Show.
Absolutely, the world-famous show.
And
Barry Z!
Yes! And you make it even more famous by being here tonight. Let me introduce my special co-host and the star Mommy Dearest, Rutanya Alda.
Yes.
Wow.
Yay. Clap.
Did I pronounce that correct?
You are perfect.
What does Rutanya mean?
Rutanya means Rutanya. It's a Latvian name. It was. I was born in Riga, Latvia, and my mother gave me that name. I think she couldn't decide between Ruta and Anya.
Oh.
So it was like Rutanya.
The best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Wow. Now you played Carol Ann in this fantastic movie, right?
Carol Ann!
Tell me about Carol Ann.
Carol Ann, where are you?
Is that what she
Taking
said
the
in the
children.
movie? Faye Dunaway? She said, Carol Ann!
Yeah, that's right. You did it better than I did.
So tell us about the role.
Carol Ann is one of these people that everybody needs in their life. Carol Ann is loyal, trustworthy, faithful to the end. And she's just one of the, she's the person in the movie that is the most stable, really, and she kind of is that kind of accepts everything. She looks and watches, but she's also Joan's rock, in a very
bodyguard?
quiet rock, not a bodyguard. No.
Babysitter?
Yeah, I think she takes care of stuff around the house, and she's like the calm force in Joan's life.
How did she end up in Joan's life?
Well, that's the scene that was cut. The scene that was cut was, I love your reaction.
Wow, why?
The scene that was cut, I don't know why they cut that scene. The scene was in the beginning of the movie, when actually the only time I get to be really young in that movie.
You are young.
Well, yeah, in the movie I go right into middle age and old age. But in the beginning...
That was a great acting job you did.
Thank you. In the beginning, I'm young, and I'm one of Joan's people that wait for her outside of MGM all the time. And so she knows me from all the months I always ask for an autograph. So she says...
You were a fan?
I was a fan. And she says, Carol Ann, are you still here? After, because I said, yes, Miss Crawford, I will be here every day for you. I am here for you. And, you know, I just can't, I will always be here for you. And she says, do you want a job? Do you need a job? Do you want to come work for me? And I said, oh my, that would be just wonderful. And she opens the door, and I go in with her. She's come with me, and I get in the door, and I go in with her, and then that's how I start working for her. I'm the ultimate fan, but in the best sense, because, you know, I don't, you know, I'm not a person that pursues her. I just wait for her outside the gate, MGM. I don't think that many people waited outside the gate in those days. I think there was.
Were you a stalker?
That's what I mean. I wasn't a stalker. I was just the true fan.
Wow, amazing.
Because I didn't follow her home. I didn't try to find out where she lived. I just waited.
Now you played the role of a real-to-life character, right?
It's based on Betty Barker, who worked for Joan for 25 years.
Wow.
And she worked with Joan when she had the kids. Yes, and I met the real Betty Barker, who was a very quiet person and very, very poised. Excuse me. And just a really nice woman, but I would not talk about Joan.
Really? Said no bad words about her at all.
Nothing about her. So that's really the loyal employee.
And she never wrote a book about her.
She never wrote a book. She never
a
had
tell-all book.
No, not. And she was the one that got, I think it was like $50,000 or $70,000 in her will.
And no one else did. Christina and Christopher didn't.
No, but I think the two younger kids did that she adopted afterward.
Oh God, unbelievable.
But so I mean, she got a big chunk of her for all her loyal 25 years of loyal service.
Wow, and you're selling this tell-all book in the lobby right here.
I'm selling, and Rob and Bob came from Trenton, New Jersey.
Oh, thank you guys.
And they came.
So they're filming this too.
and
your other friend over there.
And my friend Leon.
And my friend Shelley.
Hi, everybody. The true New Yorkers that came out in the spirit of, you know, this is wonderful, the midnight showing. I love it.
During Christmas.
During Christmas,
Yeah.
right.
What could be better?
I love you guys.
So tell me about this book that you wrote. What is it called again?
It's called The Mommy Dearest Diary. Carol Ann Tells All. The Mommy Dearest Diary is a journal I actually kept. This is real time. I kept it in real time, day to day to day. So this is the...
Of what it was working with Faye Dunaway in particular.
Yes. Working with Faye Dunaway. And there's a wonderful cast of characters that are included, of course, because you work with a makeup person, you work with a hair person, you work with the assistant directors,
and your co-stars, incredible.
And the co-stars.
Are they all alive?
Mara Hubble is alive, Diana Scarwood is alive, Harry Gause died, and Frank De Silva died.
Oh.
And Steve Forrest just died, I think, last year.
Oh.
So it's too bad.
He played her boyfriend.
Yes, I would have loved to have him read the book. Steve was the greatest guy. Steve was so much fun. Steve kind of just didn't take a Faye seriously at all. Just would come in and do it. He's the kind
Especially when she threw the drink at him. Ow.
That was a good reaction there, wasn't it? He was just the kind of guy that you would have liked to have done a TV series with. He was just...
What was his name again, Steve?
Steve Forrest.
Forrest.
He did do 2 series. He did, they were really popular series at the time. I can't remember the names of them. But he was on several series for about almost 10 years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
A great guy.
Great guy.
And, of course, we know you from Rosemary's Baby. She was in Rosemary's Baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wow. Tell
For
me
6
about the
weeks.
role.
I was, I did have a speaking part called Dr. Hill's Answering Service Operator, but my 6 weeks was spent photo doubling Mia Farrow and being her stand-in.
Wow.
So
did you have to cut your hair short like she did for Vidal Sassoon?
I didn't have that when she started out with shoulder-length hair, which I had. But so when she did the short haircut, they only they didn't film. They filmed my back or my legs walking or something. I didn't cut my hair short.
What was your line when she called you from the phone booth?
Dr. Hill's Answering Service Operator. What was my line? Something about he's not in. Can I take a message? No, and I think she calls twice. Well, can I take a message? It's from the phone booth when they had phone booths.
And you were also in the Amityville, or the Amityville. That's Amityville.
I'm in Amityville too.
Say that again.
Amityville
That's
2.
not easy to say, you know.
The Possession.
Wow.
I started with Burt Young. He and I played.
Oh, he was a great guy.
Oh,
he's still a great guy. He's still alive, right?
Yes, he's alive. He lives in Long Island.
And I interviewed him once.
He's got a whole new career. He sort of quit acting, but he's a really wonderful painter. And he does these one-man painting exhibits at the art
we went to his
galleries
apartment
out there.
here in New York and interviewed him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
great guy.
Yeah, so he's really pursuing his artistic career. And
He was in Rocky.
He was in Rocky.
Were you in
all
Rocky?
the Rockies. I was in Rocky too. I delivered Little Rocky.
You delivered Little Rocky?
I delivered Little Rocky and Rocky too.
Wow.
Yes.
I thought you said you delivered an Iraqi.
That's because I didn't enunciate.
Wow.
I delivered
that's incredible.
Little Rocky.
What else did I want to ask you about? Tell me about your role in this movie. Tell me about Carol Ann. She's a real, true-to-life character, right? But her name wasn't really Carol Ann.
No, they couldn't use, because I'm sure a lot of the scenes were not, were written because Frank used their imagination. Carol Ann, I thought, was a very stable person and took a lot of stuff. It's one of these people that my grandmother was kind of stoic, and a lot of stuff would go around her, and she would just kind of remain quiet, silent, and do what needed to be done, and she would never be the person. People would be screaming around her, my mother would be screaming around her, and she was always the one that got things done.
Whose mother?
My mother.
Was around you?
You
mean in real life?
In real life.
Your real life?
My real life.
So you really
in my real
very
life,
much like the character Carol Ann
I based
in real life.
I based it a little bit on my grandmother because she was the one that was very stoic. I mean, I screamed and yelled.
Did you really, I have to ask this for the audience now, did you really get smacked by Faye Dunaway in this movie?
3 times.
Really?
Yes.
Actually?
I actually got hit. And then Frank Perry came running over because he saw the red marks on my cheek, and he said, "You can't hit her anymore. You can't, because she's gonna. How many takes are we gonna have? You can't hit her anymore because the marks are showing up on her face."
Did it hurt?
Yeah.
Did you tell her to stop
Slap. I didn't tell her to stop it because I was waiting for Frank Perry, the director, to tell her to stop it.
You couldn't say, Faye, that's enough.
No, because I was afraid of getting fired by Faye.
Wow.
Because
Why would she fire you?
it was the first scene with her. It was the first scene with her and the thing.
Wow.
And Frank had already kind of told me before in the makeup that if I looked too good, Faye would have me fired, and there's nothing I could do about it.
You couldn't look better than Faye Dunaway in this movie, huh?
I
Or you would have
know.
gotten fired.
But I had to look worse than I looked. So we took it down and down and down, and then my makeup person put a little fake nose on me, which made it drop a little bit more, and then he grayed me up with gray makeup and made me look very dowdy. But no, I was really afraid of getting fired. I hadn't had enough film in there. This is my first day on the set that I got slapped.
You were a virgin, right? As far as film goes.
No, I had done films before, but I had never worked with anybody where the director said I had a chance of getting fired. I've never. That was my.
Were you ever involved in a big Hollywood movie like this?
Yes, The Deer Hunter won the Academy Award.
You won an Academy Award for that?
I didn't win it, but the movie did. Yeah.
I know, right?
And,
What role did you play in that?
I played Angela, the bride, the one that marries John Savage. The whole first third is the wedding, and then I'm in the funeral sequence. The last third, the middle third is the war. So it's the war, it's the wedding, the war, and the funeral. The three trilogies.
What was it
of
like
life.
working with Robert De Niro?
I loved it, and Michael Cimino was the best. Michael Cimino, the director, was absolutely marvelous. That was that was a different experience because everybody was there to help each other. Everybody worked as a team. So when I came on a movie like Mommy Dearest, when everybody was terrified of the star because I think a couple of the crew guys had gotten fired because they looked at her, everybody was terrified of getting fired. And I was one of those people, and so I thought.
Who was this ogre on the set? Was it Frank Perry or was it Joan Crawford? Was it Faye Dunaway, also known as Joan Crawford?
But I think Frank was afraid of getting fired too. He was afraid of getting fired until the last 2 weeks of the film when he finally spoke up. Like Faye said, I don't think she needs to be in the scene, Frank. And Frank said, yes, she does need to be in the scene, and she's going to be in that scene because.
What scene was that?
That was a scene that was cut out. It was like my best scene. It was a scene where Diana Scarwood brings home that award that she got, and
an acting award.
That Lifetime Achievement Award, whatever she accepts. At
for Faye.
For Joan. And she brings home this award, and Joan is there, and I'm there, and Diane is there, and we have a lovely, lovely scene. It's really my best scene in the movie. Of course, that's the scene that got cut out because it was my best scene.
Terrible. What was it like working with these people? Were they ogres? Were they monsters?
Faye was the most difficult one. Frank Perry, really, the director, was a very sweet man. He was just overwhelmed by her. He was just overwhelmed. He couldn't control her. And the interesting thing is that I'm sure in her book, she will blame Frank Perry.
She's writing a book, right?
She's writing a book. And I'm sure
about Mommy Dearest.
Yes, about Mommy Dearest, that she didn't keep notes on. I'm sure she's trying to remember.
She wants you to write it for her for free, right?
She wanted me to help me write it for free, with her ghostwriter.
Yeah.
And so.
Who? Joan Crawford.
That's a ghostwriter. She wishes it was Joan Crawford. Yeah, but.
Wow.
It's just amazing that I did keep a journal. Not intended ever published.
Is this the one that you wrote that we can buy out there?
Yeah, Mommy Dearest is a real real-time journal that I kept because I had no intention of publishing it because circumstances were so difficult. It was the only way I could kind of keep myself in kind of harmony and balance. So I daily
keep your sanity, right?
Keep my sanity. So I daily journaled it, and because I daily journaled it helped me. And then I put it away for 30 years. I had no idea people were interested in this. And then the movie became the biggest cult classic.
Cult classic. Of all time.
Of all time. And then I thought...
It originally bombed, right, at the box office?
It bombed critically. But the box office picked up a whole other genre. Mainly the gay community embraced it, which was marvelous because they've embraced it all along.
So it happened to be another reincarnation of Rocky Horror.
Exactly. Rocky Horror and Mommy Dearest are the two greatest cult movies of our time.
Wow. Amazing.
And I think Mommy Dearest has surpassed Rocky Horror.
Do you get residuals still from this movie, I hope?
Yeah, but they're like $15, $20. Because the longer it goes, the less you get. in the first year you get
That's
second.
amazing.
But then it just peters down to like, you know, it's really
Nothing, right?
2 cups of coffee and maybe lunch.
Not even at, where? Starbucks, huh?
I can get a Starbucks for my
Now let me ask you this. How did you get cast for the role? Was there a casting couch?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not on this one. Frank,
Did you have to bow down or
Not
clean the shoes of Joan Crawford? I mean, Faye Dunaway?
Say it right. No, because she had nothing to do with casting. Frank Yablons, the producer, who I'd worked with on 3 projects before, recommended me to Frank Perry. So I went to meet Frank Perry in his apartment in New York. And
Was there a casting couch there?
No, he was very, he sat behind his desk and I sat behind the desk and we had a 30-minute
That's safe
conversation.
desk. I mean, safe
Safe
sex.
sex desk.
Safe desk.
And I knew other people were coming because about 30 minutes into it, he thanked me for coming, and I knew like somebody else, he was expecting somebody else. But see, in a way, that was a wonderful time because you actually got to meet the director. And the director actually got to see you. Now, today, you go for a casting session, and the director is not there, and some assistant is videotaping you on video camera, and you have, it's really a loss because the director doesn't get to tell you, look, I like what you did, but I had this in mind, can you try it this way? And there's no director to tell you that.
It reminds me of that line in this movie. I hope you guys remember it, or if not, you'll see it, where she says to you, or says to Christina, does she say it to you too? Does she say, I have to take a screen test?
Yes, that's exactly right.
What an insult that was. She was a Hollywood legend, right?
That's right. That was a
Why
real
did she have to
insult.
take a screen test?
Because I guess MGM had dropped her and Warner's wanted to see how she would do in this movie. They didn't trust her.
What did you say to the kids? Mommy has to take a screen test.
And look how that's very, it's not humiliating, but it's very, something like that, humiliating for her to do this, and you have to.
Yeah, that was a line, right, in the
I think
movie.
So, yeah.
It's very humiliating.
It is humiliating, and it is humiliating today. I think for the actor to come in and have an assistant tape you and have no director there. I think it's really awful.
Wow.
So at least in those days, the directors were there, and like when I met Michael Cimino for Deer Hunter, I didn't audition for him at all. I just had a 35-minute conversation with him.
Over the phone?
No, in person.
Oh.
In person.
Wow.
And so he made up his mind. He made up his mind by meeting people.
Amazing.
That's how the old time directors
Wow.
used to do it.
Now, what I love about this movie the most, and I'm sure they love about the movie the most, and maybe you love about the movie the most, is the fact there's these classic lines in this,
Yes.
which are unbelievable. Can I read something
Yes,
to you?
please.
Okay, and to our audience. And when I asked Christina Crawford herself, because she was there for the 25th anniversary celebration of Mommy Dearest at Town Hall, Christina said these lines were all embellished. So they had to be true in some way, you know, in some sense.
Yeah.
So here's one of my favorites, okay? I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at the dirt.
Isn't that a great line?
You were there for that role.
I
mean, for
was
that
there.
scene.
I was there for that scene, and I got to tell you, some of these lines are like, they live. I mean, they're like out there still.
Had their own life.
And they have their own life. I mean, they are really. Who writes those kind of lines?
But are
today?
these actual lines that was said by Joan Crawford, the Joan Crawford?
I think they're probably semblance of them because Joan was known to be really, really clean. She had white rugs and you had to take your shoes off, and she
Oh my God.
she even cleaned her own floors sometimes when she didn't think the floors were
My
clean
mic
enough.
got disconnected here.
Oh, it's all right.
Oh, is that better now?
You're back,
Thank
you're
you
back,
so
you're
much.
back.
All right, so thank you. So let's just go back for
Yeah,
a second.
yeah.
So Joan Crawford actually said, I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at the dirt.
I think it's a line she would definitely have said.
Oh, God. This woman was insane, wasn't
because
she? Or no?
she was one of these people who had to have everything be clean.
What do they call that when you have to have everything clean?
Hypochondriac.
No, that's when you think.
Hypochondriac, I love that.
Which one is what's it called?
What is-
compulsive.
Oh, OCD.
Obsessive compulsive.
OCD. Right,
And
yeah,
I think
OCD.
A clean freak.
OCD. Right.
Wow. Okay,
Poor
so that's
Helga.
one. Huh?
Poor Helga.
OCD.
Yeah.
Poor Helga, right?
Remember Helga got let go.
Yes.
Why did they let her go?
She didn't keep the
Moved
house
the
clean
tree.
enough. So. Okay,
She didn't take that stain out of the floor there,
Yeah,
huh?
she didn't take the stain out.
God, so she was actually mad at
When
her.
you clean the floor, you must move the tree.
Yeah.
You clean the floor, you must move the tree. What kind of tree? A pot tree? A pear tree, maybe.
It was like a little palm tree.
Okay, how about this one? To Christina. You know where the boys and the booze are, or is.
Who doesn't?
You know where, what was the line? You know where the boys and the booze are. Yes, who doesn't? You're right.
That's great.
But she was drinking whiskey while she was saying that to her in the
Yeah,
car.
absolutely, because she knew where the boys and the booze are.
I'm sure
too.
she did.
Joan knew.
Wow.
She knew the boy. You know, she
I
knew
couldn't
what-
believe they had a scene in this where young Christina, how old was she, 5 or 6, was making cocktails for Joan Crawford and her boyfriend.
She was trained early.
To make what, daiquiris or
Yes.
or
I think it's
mixed
mine
drinks
was,
or what was it?
100
vodka
proof
was the big
Stoli.
Stoli and vodka?
Smirnoff.
Or Stoli
Yeah,
vodka.
Joan was a vodka person.
She was a vodka freak, right? So it was
She liked her vodka.
some kind of vodka drink then.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't, a whiskey sour
No,
or
just
Manhattan.
vodka. I guess
Vodka on the rocks.
Vodka on the rocks.
There we go.
Maybe
And
vodka with
Christina
soda.
Christina was the bartenders.
Yes.
Bartender or bartendress?
She's bartendress.
She
child.
taught Christina, her adopted daughter, how to be a bartender.
Yes, but it's not that hard to pour your vodka over the rocks.
But she's 5 years old. That was illegal, no?
Kids wanna
To have
know.
your 5-year-old make drinks for you?
Not in Brentwood.
I'm talking, not in Brentwood, huh? And that was alcoholic.
It's behind closed doors.
Yeah, that was alcoholic drinks also. Here's another line. Let's see. Don't fuck with me, fellas!
Yeah, Coca-Cola.
Isn't that the best
Pepsi.
line? Isn't that the best line?
And that was in relationship to what?
This is not my first time at the rodeo. This is
And
when.
say the second line also, please.
Don't fuck with me, fellas. This is not my first time at the rodeo.
Let's get the award, Academy Award Committee in here. We'll give you an Oscar for that.
I love that. I love that scene because I think that really happened. They were trying to dump her. See, Al Steele got this big salary, and when he died,
And he worked for
and
Pepsi.
he was a big chief at Pepsi, one of the big guys. And when he died, they tried to cut her off from all the salary. And Joan went in there and said, if you do that, I'm going to go into America because America will listen to me, and I'm going to tell America what a horrible product you have and what you've done to me.
Wow.
And they put
Unbelievable.
her back on salary. They put her back on salary, and she worked for Pepsi until she died. pretty much.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
So
they were
she
the
was
sa-
tough. They didn't know who she was dealing with. They did not know Joan Crawford. They.
She didn't mess around with anyone.
She after surviving MGM and Mr. Mayor, she knew how to handle herself.
Wow. What about this line? So I take it, wait a minute. So she, took over the role of running Pepsi, right? Which was the second runner-up for drinks.
Yes, they were trying to make it first. She toured with Pepsi, and she always had cases of Pepsi with her. And,
Wow.
Yeah. She became.
What was the Pepsi line? Do you remember?
I don't know. Does
Pepsi
anybody know?
pleases? No.
Does anybody know the Pepsi line? I don't remember.
No one knows the Pepsi line?
That's a good question.
How
We
about
should
you,
find that out.
sir, back there? No? How about you, Shelley? No, okay.
I don't know.
How about this line? Everyone knows this one. I'm bigger and I'm stronger than you and I'll win every time.
I'll always beat you.
I'll always be you. I think that's a real Joan line because I think she had to be on top. I think Joan.
How do you
had
say
to
that
be-
to a 5-year-old girl?
Well, she did it.
And
She
smacked
did.
her at the same
She
time.
wanted to keep keep
Oh,
it
God.
disciplined, keep it. She wanted to know She wanted her to know who was number one. That's it.
So what you're telling us is that she was a control freak.
I think she was. You know what I think, Barry? I think you have to look at where she came from.
Where did she come from?
She came from great poverty. She came from a single mother, and who was doing washing for people. And
She really was Mildred Pierce.
Joan Crawford got a scholarship at a girls' school when she was like 13 or 14.
Wow.
A nice girls' school, but she had to wash the other girls' toilets.
Wow.
And she had to clean their houses. So when
In her high heels?
No, it's like so when she.
Because I've cleaned toilets in my high heels.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no, I didn't say that. Please
That's
don't
a
get
good-
that on
That's
camera.
a good movie. That would be a good movie. That's a good story. No, I think in Joan, it's all relative because I think in Joan's mind, living in Beverly Hills and having nice clothes
Wow.
was something that she thought Christina had a pretty good deal.
What about this line? Everyone knows this, and I'm sure you do. You were in the movie. Take that dress off because that stain will show.
That's
We
right.
don't know what kind of stain it was either.
That's probably a grass stain.
Couldn't be a presidential stain.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe
Monica Lewinsky stain, no?
Yeah.
she was too young.
Well, I once said this to people. I had this stained dress that I was bringing to the front of Burger King once, and I said, excuse me, can you tell me how to get these hard to get out presidential DNA stains? So everyone said, what? And I said, why don't you touch it and see if it actually is Bill Clinton's? And they said, are you out of your head? Nobody would touch a stained presidential DNA blouse or dress, They were afraid.
They were scared.
I said you can try scrubbing it out, you can try soaking it out, and you can also shout it out. Get the fuck out! That worked. Came right out.
That's right.
Anyway, go ahead. So what were you saying?
What was the question? I
Oh
forgot.
yeah, something about presidential stains. No,
Oh,
no,
the
no.
stain.
The grass.
Well,
The
I
dress.
think, see, Joan
The grass stain.
was a clean
Her
freak.
birthday party.
Everything had to be
At the
neat.
birthday
Everything
party.
had to be perfect. The dress had to be perfect. That's just the way she was. I mean, you look at every picture that's ever taken of her. She looks perfect.
Perfect.
Mm.
Shelley, is that true for the modeling industry? Everything has to be perfect. She's a high fashion model.
I'm not certain.
No, but you have to be perfect when you model, right?
When you model, when you're out on the floor, right? Everything has to. Doesn't
Yes,
a designer
exactly.
say you have to be?
Yes.
And I think Joan. I think everything. Maybe at home it didn't have. When they went out into the public, they all had to look great. They all had to be.
But we're
perfect.
all human beings. I would say perfectly imperfect.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, that's perfect.
I like that.
That is perfect.
That is
What about this line? Your dolls are uncaring and thoughtless, and they're going to wake you up like they did me.
Carolyn!
Get
Do
the
that one more
children
time.
out
Get that
of
on
the
camera.
garden.
Can you say that one more time?
Carolyn!
Wow. That was
Keep those children quiet!
that reminded me of a line that was in Mary Hartman. Remember that?
Which line?
Mary Hartman!
Oh, yes, I remember that line. That was a great line.
Yeah.
Joan, she needed her beauty sleep.
How many winks? 150? Unbelievable. And of course, my favorite line was, this is Christina's line. If mommy doesn't like you, she can make you disappear.
Oh, yeah.
What was that about?
That was pretty scary, actually. The dollies all disappeared, so...
She cut all these guys out of her pictures, or it was her
Yeah, Steve
lover.
Forrest.
Steve Forrest was cut out of all the
Lover.
pictures.
Yeah, we cut
Uncle
his
Greg.
head out. Yeah, we cut it.
If
we
mommy
cut it
doesn't
out.
like you, she can make you disappear.
disappear.
Wow. You were helping her
I was
make
helping
him
her.
disappear. I saw you cutting those pictures out.
I was totally in Joan's corner. Get rid of him.
Oh, God.
We'll find somebody new.
Unbelievable. And of course, no more wire hangers ever!
Ever. Yes, everything had to be nice on those nice satin hangers. Kept nice.
What was her obsession with wire hangers?
I wonder if it comes from her childhood. When
Yeah,
everything-
doing washing.
Everything, the
Yeah.
washing.
Getting hit by those
Yeah.
hangers? Or
I think it's just that she didn't like the way the clothes looked. Because you know what? If you hang something wet on those hangers,
wire hangers?
they have
Leave
these
marks.
funny. They leave marks.
I was going to come in one day while we're running this film here and wear them around my neck like I did at the tribute. Wear a wire hanger around my neck. But I was afraid that I was going to get beaten by Christina Crawford.
She probably would have looked down at you. That's probably for sure.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
She doesn't laugh easily.
Really? She doesn't want to.
Did she laugh at you when you asked her a
Not
question?
really.
That's right. She doesn't.
They don't really want to remember this movie. They
Yeah.
want to forget it. Like Faye Dunaway, when I interviewed her one time at a premiere of a play off Broadway, she said to me when I asked her, "What is your favorite line?" or "What are your favorite lines from Mommy Dearest?" She looks to me and goes like, "I have no favorite lines." I said, what are you saying? I mean, you mentioned these lines. You said them in the movie. Yeah, I don't want to, think about this movie. I don't want to refer to it. I want to put it in my past and
Yeah.
forget about it.
She-
Why?
I have no idea.
She wants to bury
why.
the movie,
She wants to bury
literally.
the movie in my, except for now. Now she's writing her book because she's got a nice, healthy money advance. So now she wants to help remember it.
So she had no favorite lines. She didn't even want to
You know
remember
what?
the role.
There was an interview that I think it was a year or two ago. I read this big English reporter on a major paper was given a chance to interview her, and she said, "No, don't ask me anything about Mommy Dearest." And so toward the middle, I think he asked her about Mommy Dearest, and she said, "That's it. The interview's over." She kicked him out.
Wow.
She refuses to talk about it.
Now, was it because of the fact that Joan Crawford was a legend, of course, not only in her mind, but in everyone else's, and was put to shame in this? I mean, she was called box office poison, even though she was Hollywood royalty, right? That came from the movie, too,
Yeah,
all
that's
the time.
from the LBJ character, Howard Silva says that.
Yeah, she was from Metro, right?
Yes, Metro.
She was Hollywood royalty, quote unquote Hollywood royalty. What is Hollywood royalty? Being a legend?
Yeah, she was a star. I mean, even though maybe the last few movies bombed, she was still a star. And so she was one of the big stars of that era.
But where did this box office poison line come from?
Because the last few movies that she did, MGM, didn't make money. So they were into money. If you didn't make money, that's one of the reasons they let her go.
But wasn't she signed to a contract?
Yes, but I think
She was a contract player,
She was a
right?
contract player, but I think her contract was up,
Ah,
and he didn't renew it.
he gave her the boot.
He gave her the boot.
Unbelievable. That was Howard Da Silva, right?
That was Howard Da Silva.
Is he still alive?
No, and he was such a
No.
wonderful actor.
Wow. You know, we have a trivia contest. We want to give away some free movie tickets. Can I ask you guys some lines here? Well, not lines. Some questions. Okay, the first one is, what soda company was Joan Crawford head of?
Pepsi.
Pepsi Cola.
Who said Pepsi? Right there? Oh, you too? All right. Let me give this gentleman, but we have many more tickets, so here's a free ticket for you. Come back. Okay.
Thank you.
Does anybody know what year this movie was made in? You want to guess?
82?
No.
80?
You're getting warmer. Anybody else?
79.
How about 81?
Yeah.
You guessed that, right? Okay. All right, give me 1 minute, I'm done. Here we go, here's one for you. And then we have two more, we're giving it away. Is Faye Dunaway writing a book? Of course, you had said so. You don't know the title, right, Shelley? Could
I
it
don't know
be
the title either.
Camp Crawford?
Oh!
What do you think?
Can't-
Shelley, you got it right here. We have one more ticket to give away.
Yay.
Who directed the film? You, sir. Frank Perry, did you say? Here we go. You're right. Thank you for coming by. And wait, let me give you one of my cards so we can have you come back.
Well,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And let's see, I think that's it, right? Do you want to ask Rutanya anything before we go to the movie?
Questions?
Any questions? Oh, my mic came out again, but that's
Oh,
okay.
no.
We're loud.
We're loud.
You
Anybody
share
want to
my
ask
mic.
Rutanya anything?
All my questions.
About her dealing with this movie and Faye Dunaway and the life of Joan Crawford? Anybody? No? Yes.
Faye Dunaway, she's still alive?
Oh, yes,
yeah.
yes, very much alive.
But she won't have anything to do with you, right?
No.
Why not?
Well, because really, it's the other way around. I don't want anything to do with her.
There we go. Should I ask you why?
Yeah, because she's a total narcissist.
That's a good reason. Anyway, enjoy the film. Go ahead, you have a question.
Rutanya, do you plan to write more about your life?
Yes, I do. I'm working on a
Yeah.
one-woman show now.
Oh.
But that's the first part of the book, which starts and ends with my coming to America.
Wow.
So.
Maybe you could do the second Eddie Murphy movie.
Oh.
Coming to America, too. Yes.
You're from Virgil, Latvia.
Latvia, huh?
Latvia.
Uh-huh, nice. All right, we got to
All
see
right,
the
we
movie.
got it.
Thank you so much for coming by. Happy holidays.
right.
And let's